Every organization faces risk, but not every risk needs to be eliminated. In cybersecurity, risk is everywhere. Outdated software, exposed endpoints, insider threats, and everything in between. But instead of panicking and trying to fix everything, we use risk treatment plans to decide how to handle those risks, strategically, based on impact, likelihood, and business needs. In this video, we're breaking down the 4 main ways to treat risk: acceptance, transference, mitigation, and avoidance. And we'll tie it all into how real organizations manage those decisions. Let's get into it. A risk treatment plan is a structured way to decide what to do about a risk. It's not just about identifying risk, it's about deciding whether to fix it, live with it, pass it on, or sidestep it entirely. And while the term might sound formal, it's really just the decision-making part of risk management, the phase where we respond to what we've discovered. You'll typically create a risk treatment plan after completing a risk assessment, and you'll document that plan to ensure visibility, accountability, and compliance. Think of it like going to the doctor. The diagnosis or risk assessment tells you what's wrong, but the treatment plan tells you what to do next. Let's walk through 4 main treatment strategies with examples for each. First, we'll look at risk acceptance. Sometimes the best option is to just accept the risk and move on. This happens when the cost of fixing the issue is higher than the potential impact of it happening, or the risk is low enough to be considered tolerable. Let's imagine you're running a non-critical internal web server that's one version behind on updates, and the vulnerability doesn't impact availability or confidentiality, and patching would cause a system outage. You decide to accept the risk, document it, and revisit it later. Accepting the risk isn't the same as ignoring it. You're making a conscious, documented choice based on facts. Next, let's look at risk transference. In some cases, you can shift the responsibility to a third party. Now, this doesn't remove the risk entirely, but it changes who is responsible for dealing with it. For example, you can buy cyber insurance to help cover the costs of a data breach, or you can host critical infrastructure in a cloud provider's data center, transferring physical security risks to them. Transference is often about contracts, vendors, and insurance, not technology. Then there's risk mitigation, and this is the most common option. Take action to reduce the risk. That can mean patching a vulnerability, adding security controls, or reducing exposure. You're not eliminating the risk entirely, but you're lowering the likelihood or impact. Now let's say you find a vulnerability in your web app. Instead of pulling the whole app offline, you patch the flaw, add a web application firewall rule to block attacks, and enable logging to catch any future abuse. This is like wearing a seatbelt in a car. You can't reduce the chance of a crash, but you can reduce the harm if it does happen. Finally, we have risk avoidance. Sometimes the best way to deal with risk is not to do anything at all. Let's say your business wants to launch a new feature that collects sensitive biometric data, but the legal and security risks are far too high, so you decide not to launch that feature. Avoidance usually involves canceling, delaying, or changing plans to dodge high-risk outcomes. It's like choosing not to walk across a frozen lake. You can't fall through if you don't step on the ice. Now here's the part that often gets missed. Risk treatment isn't a one-and-done decision. It's part of an ongoing risk management lifecycle, which includes identifying risks, analyzing them, choosing a response, documenting the plan, and revisiting it regularly. Every decision, even do nothing, needs to be recorded with ownership assigned, review timelines established, and risk levels reassessed over time. And even after mitigation or transfer, you're still left with something called residual risk, the level of risk that remains after action's taken. And that residual risk also needs to be documented and either accepted or addressed. And this is especially important in industries with strict legal requirements, like healthcare, finance, or government. Auditors want to see how risks are managed, tracked, and reviewed. Think of risk treatment like planning a mountain hike. You accept the chance of rain because it's minor, you transfer injury risks by buying travel insurance, you mitigate falling risks by buying climbing gear, and you avoid avalanche zones by picking a different trail. Every decision's intentional, based on terrain, timing, and tools, and cybersecurity works the same way. So those are the 4 options for risk treatment: accept, transfer, mitigate, and avoid, each with its own place in the bigger picture. Risk treatment isn't just technical, it's strategic. It's about knowing your environment, evaluating trade-offs, and documenting your decisions for accountability and compliance. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please consider giving the video a like or check out one of the others on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.